So in this video, I'm going to go over my top tips for improving the quality of your leads with Performance Max. Now, I really like to use Performance Max with lead generation, mainly as a top of funnel campaign to really spread my net as wide as possible, but to also recycle the insights that I find in this Performance Max campaign type. But in order to really make it a good quality lead, you do need to really refine it down and limit it a bit more than it actually is, because it's a very automated type of campaign. But there are bells and whistles that you can adjust in order to make it a higher quality campaign type, because typically it has a pretty bad reputation for low quality leads. Okay, but this simply isn't the case anymore if you're using it correctly. So let's start with my top tips. Now, the first one is to follow a lead gen campaign structure. Now, I did a video, which is here, which went over the lead gen campaign structure that I follow, and I'll quickly run over it now. So this is what it is. So we have our campaign here. So what this is a TOF and MOF campaign type. And what we're using here is for our TOF, which means top of funnel, and MOF, which means middle of funnel, we are using top performing blogs or FAQs. We are using what I like to call disco words, or long tail keywords as the boring name is for them. What these are doing is answering the questions that our prospects have in the information gathering stage of the decision making process. They're not ready to make a conversion yet. What they are wanting to do is gather information and see what they need in order to solve their problem, which is your product or service. However, they're just not ready to make a purchase decision yet, or a lead inquiry just yet. So what we're trying to do is answer our most common FAQs, or our most common sales objections, or our top performing blog posts, because these are people who are after information. And what we're going to do is position this there, and we're going to generate our traffic to these pages in order to answer these questions, and not to convert them. We are just wanting to give them information at this stage. And then what the two bottom MOF asset groups are is our top performing search ad groups. Now what this is basically just replicating what we have done in our search campaigns, and we're just going to throw it into here, because in combination with good quality audience signals, we can really generate some high quality leads here, as long as you follow the other tips I have. But we can also recycle the insights we get from PMax, because in my opinion, the PMax Insights tab is so much better than the keyword planner. And what we can do is then recycle this into our existing search themes for our PMax to further improve it. And we can also recycle it into our existing search campaigns. So it's really used as a top of funnel to generate this awareness, to also generate leads, but also to improve our further down the funnel, our MOF and BOF search campaign. So this is why I really like PMax. So let's go back to it. So there we are. We are following a lead gen campaign structure. Next thing we want to do is maximize our image and video assets. Now, if you're running a lead gen campaign, you cannot just tick the boxes by throwing in really average images and video assets. Okay, you really got to spend time to create good quality image assets and video assets to use for your Google Ads, because Google Ads is not so much just a search engine anymore. It's going towards like social media advertising, similar to Facebook in my opinion, and it's making this shift here. So if you want to really maximize it, then you need to be in this middle of this change, and you need to make sure you're going with it rather than against it. My predictions is it's going to be a lot more like Facebook and social media advertising in the future. So you want to jump on this now and create high quality image assets and video assets, similar to what you do in your display campaigns. One thing I really like to do for this is to research what your competitors are doing. So what we're going to do is just type in Fiverr there. And the reason I'm doing this is because I can click on these three buttons here, and I can go to see more ads, see what Fiverr are throwing up. And from that, I can go here, and then I can go to images. And what I can do is see the sort of images they are running on their Performance Max campaigns or their display campaigns. Next thing we want to do is maximize our search themes. Now, what you want to do with the PMax campaign is to initially populate your search themes from the keyword planner. But as I've said, I now prefer the Insights tab over the keyword planner, because you really get some keywords or some search terms that you just wouldn't get from the keyword planner. So I recommend you just start with the keyword planner to begin with. However, as your campaign progresses and you gain some insights, recycle these into your asset groups, into your audience signals, into the search themes, because these are really, really high quality and so much better than the keyword planner, in my opinion. Next one is to use a customer list, but of our existing customers, not our leads. Okay, I'm going to highlight that one as well. Not leads, but customers only. Say, for example, we had a total of 10,000 leads, but we only had a list of 2,000 customers. So a 20% conversion rate. What I would rather favor is 2,000 customers rather than 10,000 leads, because we want to tailor the algorithm to go after people who are similar to our existing customers, not people who are similar to our leads. Because what we want to focus on with our lead generation account with Google Ads is we want to be more optimizing for customers rather than leads. And typically, if you are running just leads as a conversion type, you're going to be optimizing for that rather than an existing customer. And this really funnels into the next one, which is using offline conversions. Now, basically, in summary, what offline conversions is optimizing for a customer rather than a lead. Because typically, when you're running your lead gen campaigns, once that user fills in a lead inquiry, a lead form on your website, that's our conversion. But we don't know if that lead is actually that good quality, because we don't know if they're going to convert to a customer. But if we use value-based bidding in combination with all lead statuses uploaded to Google Ads and monetary value assigned to each of those lead statuses, we can optimize for a customer over a lead. And this is all to do with how much the monetary value is assigned to them. And this is something I use, which is the lead status value calculator. And what we have here is, say for example, 200 leads, but only convert to 25 customers. But a customer is worth 15 grand. And what we can do based on conversion rates to customers, now this might be a bit complicated, okay? But what we can do based on this is assign a conversion value to a lead and these other lead statuses like MQL, SQL, opportunity. And as you can see, the conversion value steadily goes up until we get to a customer. But when we use a value-based bidding strategy like maximize conversion value, TROAS, similar to what you'd use for ecom, we can basically tailor the algorithm to go for people who are more likely to be customers rather than leads. Because we're using a ROAS model, we can be like, we're going to stoke that ROAS up because we want to achieve the best return on ad spend, which naturally is going for a higher conversion value, which is our customers, okay, not our leads. So that's one of the best ways to improve your lead quality with PMax or just search campaigns or anything on Google Ads is offline conversions. Next thing I like to use is a brand exclusion list, because I like to use, if it's possible to use a brand exclusion list, your client or your business might not be big enough to do this, and if that's the case, that's fine. This is just a bit of an extra one that I like to do if possible. But using a brand exclusion list means our conversions are less associated to your brand, and which means the data we get in our insights tab is really relevant to recycle back in, because if we're just recycling brand back into our campaigns, we're not gaining any value from that. We already know that. And best thing we can do is bid for new customers, either hire for new customers or for new customers only, because we naturally just exclude brand pretty much doing that. But if you can't do that, you can exclude existing leads, just do that in your audience signals, okay? But yeah, that's what we want to do for that. And so yeah, overall, this is my top tips for Performance Max. And so I please want you guys to use this. Let me know your feedback in the description below. Let's open up a conversation. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any of your questions there. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next.